These 50 portraits form the basis of my master's project on remarkable women, a project focusing on women who've had a positive impact on their community. Like most creative projects, the beginning is the most difficult stage. You start out with a vague idea, and for me, the seeds of this project began years ago when I was an expat living in Malaysia and met an incredible woman. Our visa status as dependent wives meant that we were not legally allowed to work, and my friend Maria decided if she couldn't work, then she would raise 1,000,000 ringgit for a special needs school. And she did. I was always a little awed that someone could set out to change the lives of people she had never met, and in the long run create such positive, needful change for people who weren't able to do it for themselves for whatever reason. So on this basis, I began photographing some very willing subjects. Thank you, you know who you are. Not exactly sure of the form or the shape of the project. My first subjects were people I knew and admired, and then I asked each of them for recommendations of other women they admired. So fundraiser and community activist Joe recommended Michelle, who looks after babies in crisis in her own home for months, and then hands them back once it is okay to do so. Neonatal intensive care nurse Trish recommended Sister Berenice, who spent 3.5 years as a prisoner of war, helping the wounded and saving lives. Karen, who works with cancer survivors, led me to Donna, who has set up programs with at-risk teenage girls, using art as a way of healing. Playwright Pat led me to Zona, who has helped raise over $1 million for MS Australia. Pat also introduced me to Margaret, who managed the women's hockey team representing Australia to the Olympics in 1984. A friend led me to Camilla, who, as an expat living in Romania, saw such terrible circumstances. Children without shoes in winter, families unable to buy enough food. She founded a charity that today is a viable enterprise that employs 9 full-time women and exports across the globe. Camilla then recommended Jan, who helped a friend during the last hours of her life when she was dying of cancer. Jan now uses that experience in an organization to help others dealing with a loved one dying and the realities of death. Writer and Goodwill Ambassador Suzanne introduced me to Hillary, who fought for basic women's rights and the abolition of the death duty for widows, and for many other rights we take for granted today. Spending a year in the company of these women, photographing and recording their stories turned into an incredible journey and such a positive experience. Without their willingness to take a chance on an unknown photographer and share their stories with me, this exhibition would not have been possible. Each of them helped this project grow through their own personal network, allowing it to expand while also giving it greater depth and meaning. Any success it may or has had is a true reflection on them. My hope, in the end, is that these portraits themselves reflect the generosity of their spirit and the strength of their conviction, and are perceived in a way to suggest that you, the viewer, are invited guests into the lives and achievements of these positively remarkable women.